Hey YouTubers, Skyfly51 here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to install these adjustable coil spring boosters. Alright camera, you can do it. There we go. They look like yay. I already got these installed on my passenger rear. As you can possibly see that the vehicle's sitting kind of crooked. But let me just preface with saying, don't buy these. They're terrible. I will make a full review telling you why, but don't buy them. Because this full package I have, which is supposed to be for my front springs, are going to go back to the store and get returned. And the only reason I'm putting these in is just because my rear springs are saggy and I don't want to remove them from the side. And I kind of got my method figured out on how to get these things installed. So I'm just going to install them on the driver's side and make do with it for a little while until I'm at the stage in life where I can afford a decent lift for the old Jeep. So let's go over what you're going to need. First off, you're going to need some kind of lifting device to get the vehicle up. You can do this a couple different ways. I'll leave that up to you. I use a series of small and larger bottle jack underneath my trailer hitch, and I lift the body up that way and just let the axle droop. You could also use a smaller jack and just lift the axle, and then put jack stands underneath your frame rails to hold the body while you drop the axle back down. Kind of depends what you have, what you don't have. Different ways to do it. Doesn't really make a difference. I don't have an impact. If you have an impact, please use an impact. But we're going to need a 3/4 inch socket. I'm using 1/2 inch drive. This is an impact socket. 6-point. I would recommend always using 6-point for anything. And this one is a 5/8. That's all you're going to need for that. I'm using just a breaker bar and a drive ratchet. Like I say, if you have an impact, please use the impact. Don't be like me. And then for these, this is all 14 mil. This is literally all you need right here. It's really not too much. I might also recommend like a little box to sit on or something while because you're just going to be right in front of the tire essentially working to get these things put on your springs. So without further ado, let's get to step number one. Step number one is just going to be to get underneath there, and you're going to take your shock loose, which is just this one bolt right here. This is the nut over here is a 3/8 and 3/4, excuse me, and this is the 5/8. So like I say, if you have a impact, now's the time to use it. As you can see, I'm starting to get pretty bad on these shocks. They're really getting old, but I'm just going to remove it for now and put it back on and get this lift installed for now, and then probably another month or two get new shocks. And then once you get step number two, once you get your shock off, is you're going to want to loosen up your lug nuts and get the wheel off. Or just loosen your lug nuts for now anyway. You got to jack it up first. So I'm going to go ahead, get the shock off, loosen my lug nuts, and we'll be back. Actually, the thing I forgot, step 0.5, safety first, chalk your front wheel, so that way the vehicle ain't going to go nowhere. Right, now we have the vehicle jacked up, sitting on the jack on the trailer hitch. I got my sitting box here. So what we're going to do, at least what I did on that side over there, is I put it on the third one up, so it's 1, 2, 3. So it's this one right here, and it's going to go here and here, 180 degrees opposing from each other. Now, I'm not too sure how you're supposed to put these in, because if we go take a look, well, the first package didn't even have installation instructions. This package while I had the same number up here in the corner, it's a different, it's a different packaging. In this photo, they show you putting them on the same coil. But if you come back here and read the instructions and look at the figure, it's on two separate coils. So they're kind of contradicting themselves there. I think this is the quote-unquote proper way to install them. But on these Grand Cherokee Springs, they don't open up wide enough to really even fit this thing in here, let alone to put them on two different coils like that. So anyway, I'll just put it in like the picture on the front, because that's the only way I can get them in. And getting these things in on this Grand Cherokee is a bit of a trick. Now maybe if you had the upcountry suspension option, things would work better because this is an inch longer. Or, a different vehicle, your mileage may vary. But on this thing, it's an absolute pain. So pretty much what you're going to do is take your first one and prep it like this. You're going to want the bolt and the first nut to be tight against each other. And you're going to put the second nut tight against the first just to give you the smallest package you can. What you're going to do is you're going to slide this right in there like that. Okay. And then you're going to get the second plate, slide it down, and get it wedged in here. And feed the bolt up and put nut number 1 and hopefully nut number 2 on. And then work the bolt up as far as you can until it binds. And then work this side up so you expand the spring. And this second bolt on this side, it won't come up all the way like this one. It'll hit on the spring and bind up because it actually goes in there at an angle. So once you get to that stage, then we're ready for the next step. Now as you can see, I got this installed. It took me, probably a good 5-10 minutes just to get this thing worked in here like this. You can see the bolt height difference because this one is bound up on this coil here. It won't go up any higher. Okay, so you got it like this. And basically, all you're going to do now is just go back and forth between this side and this side with your 14 mil open end wrench and just work these top nuts up to expand the spring. You don't need to run it up super far, but you got to get it up a little ways, because then we're going to take our second one, and yesterday I had it right in the middle here, which is probably what I'm going to do today. Well, I'll tell you about that when we get to the next step. Alright, so now as we can see, I got this wedged in here. The bolt's still, different heights, but I got this expanded up quite a ways. So now I'm going to try to get the second one someplace right around in here. And you're going to, just tried, and you're going to have to prep it sadly the same way you did the first one. And get the second one in here. And I'm going to see how well this one goes in. Yesterday I didn't expand this one quite as far, I don't think, so I'm going to see how this one fits, and we'll be back. I was able to get the second one, both bolts all the way up, which is good. I'm doing better than I did yesterday. So I'm just going to put this right about in front, only 90 degrees away from this one, and I'm going to lift this one up so it expands the spring, so it'll take the tension off of this one, so that you can get this bolt properly up through there like it needs to be. So I'm going to go ahead, do that, and take you guys to the next step. So now I remember from yesterday that when you try to keep tightening this up, and this isn't tight because you had to put it up through the bottom, you need to get a 14 mil wrench on this side, which is a real tight fit. And then you either need a second 14 mil wrench, or I'm just going to use a crescent wrench because I don't have two 14 mil wrenches, just to tighten between the bolt head and this bottom nut. They don't have to be very tight, but just tight enough to keep this bolt from rotating. Okay, sorry tubers, I got a little carried away with my project here. So anyway, once you get the first one in, you get the second one in. I mean, it's fairly self-explanatory how this setup works. I see these aren't really 180 degrees perfectly apart from each other. Like that side I think is a little closer to 180 degrees apart, but it'll look okay. And you can see how it pretty much rapes that section of the coil, and it gets you some lift. I had to put a couple more pumps on the jack there to get the tire put back on. So I'm in the process of putting my lug nuts on, and once I get those put on, I'm probably going to lower the vehicle down just a few inches so I can get my shock put back on, because right now the axle is drooping down too low. And then I'm just going to make sure the shock is tight, torque my wheels down, my torque wrench, 100 foot-pounds, and we're going to be done. Alright, well there you have it, tubers. Don't forget to tighten up your shock, tighten down your lug nuts. And if we stand back here now, we can see looks pretty good. I measured it before and after with a tape measure on this passenger side, and I got a good 1.5 inches of lift out of it. So it's not sagging in the rear anymore. And 1.5 inches will give me enough room. I can get these little 215s off of here and get some 31 10.5s. So pretty excited about that. Like I said, I'm not putting those spring boosters on my front. I'm going to just get an actual lift for the front, because these things are terrible. My full review of them should be coming out pretty soon, and I'll tell you all the reasons why I hate them. But if this helps you guys, give me a thumbs up, drop me a comment, interact with me somehow, and hopefully you'll be watching some of my more tutorials.